along the lines of kind of, setting up for success, when we think about going down this path and choosing, I think choosing the right private equity partner is critical for sustainable growth, for optimal culture, and just long term. Can you discuss your view on the right strategy in making this decision? And Larry, I'll start with you. Your thoughts.
Okay. I think it goes back to Dan's point, which was very, very good. You need to have a clear understanding of why you're interested in an MSO transaction, why you're interested in outside investment, what you would use the funds for, why it's necessary. There are lots and lots of benefits. There are some downsides. If you start with a clear strategy, you can then assemble a team of trusted advisors who will help you find the right capital provider for your actual strategy. And they do come in multiple flavors. It's already starting to shake out. Some of the largest PEs are interested in essentially doing a classic private equity strategy, acquiring a majority interest in the MSO for a very large firm, and then with stable cash flows, and then trying to optimize. That's sort of what I think of as the classic PE strategy. A number of smaller PE funds and some larger ones as well are interested in a different strategy, more of a classic VC strategy, where you make an investment in existing management, generally a minority investment, but as we discussed, it could be a majority investment because it's a majority investment in the MSO, not the law firm. And it's essentially a growth strategy. So those investors are trying to find firms that could serve as a platform for future roll-ups in their sector, or maybe there's a different growth strategy. I think there's a third category as well. I think there are some outside investors that may be okay with structuring the investment as equity, but what they're really thinking about it as a debt deal. Depending on what you want, depending on what your strategy is, that can be okay too. There's no wrong answer. The only except for an answer that creates misalignment between your expectations for a transaction and what the outside investor would be interested in doing.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, I mean, if you're talking about doing a minority, you could ask, well, why not some debt, right? If it's a low capital, but I think the point is that it has to be an added value above capital, and so that also impacts who you want to partner with, because it is essentially a partnership, and there has to be alignment in the strategy, but potentially value add from the investor, and that can come in different ways. It could be an investor that has success in other industries and thinks they can bring that to bear. It could be a existing client of the firm that could turbocharge and bring in more like-minded firms to that platform. So there could be a business rationale for it as well. Cultural fit is of course important, and it's like in every other partnership, every other business venture, a joint venture, is that cultural alignment, trust, and everyone understanding on the same page as to what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and the time horizon is critical. John mentioned it earlier. Most private equities are focused on exit. Dan mentioned family offices. There are large family offices that might be okay with acquiring and holding for a very long time an interest in a distribution or dividend producing asset like a law firm MSO. You just need to figure out what your ideal strategy is, what you could live with, and what the universe of potential capital providers looks like to try to find a match. You need advisors to do it. Don't do this on your own.
Yeah, and it may not be to the highest bidder, right? There might be other, there might be some uncertainty with some people. How long will they take? To John's comment earlier as to execution risk, and so certainty is the other factor that often brings to bear on these types of transactions when there are multiple potential parties involved.
Yeah, no, that's critically important. This is not, it's a market very much in flux. It has not settled on a particular structure yet. It's not commoditized at all. So it's not a question of just going out and, selling your little MSO to the highest bidder. You have to be much more careful, much more discerning about who your partner's going to be.